Yo, what is up, my beautiful people? As you can see in front of me, handheld PCs these days are expensive. And it doesn't seem like, they're gonna be getting cheaper anytime soon. I'm talking about $1,100, 1,000, 900, 800, 700. Even the Steam Deck OLED, which is typically the budget champion, is still over $600. So what do you do when your budget isn't 1,000? It isn't 700, 800, 600, it isn't even 500. What do you do when your budget for a handheld PC is only $400? And that's where these two devices come in today. So today, I'm going to be comparing what I believe to be two of the best handheld PCs that you can get for $400. That's none other than the Steam Deck LCD and the Ayaneo Next Lite. That's right, $400 for these handheld PCs. Now, before you come in the comments and say, well, you can get such and such a PC in the used market, this is only going to be the new retail price. So if you can find the Ally for $350, $400, that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about just a new, out of the box, out of the shop, fresh off the factory line, $400 handheld. So let's not waste any time. Let's talk about these two budget handheld PCs, Ayaneo Next Lite versus Steam Deck LCD. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let's go. Okay, so let's talk about these two handheld PCs here. I want to tell you like which one of these devices excels in which way, and then at the end of it, I'm going to run some benchmarks, and then I'm going to tell you who should buy which device. Now, right off the bat, I just want to get off the common thing between these two devices. They actually do share something in common, and that happens to be the screen size and resolution. So both of these devices have a 7-inch 800p 60 hertz display. That's LCD. So yeah, they do share the same sort of display resolution, refresh rate, and screen size. So that is a spec that is in common. They also both powered by AMD processors. This is the 4500U from AMD, and this is a custom AMD processor that was specifically made just for the Steam Deck. Now, that all out of the way, they're both powered by AMD, both same 800p resolution. So that's sort of the specs that we can get out of the way. Now, as far as which one excels in which different ways, let's start with the Ayaneo Next Lite, because this is the new device in my sort of studio today. I've had the LCD Steam Deck, this Steam Deck, since the Steam Deck launched. I think that's over 2 years at this point. I mean, it must be like around 3 years now. I don't know. It's been a long time. It's been years since I got this Steam Deck here. Yeah, so this is the original Steam Deck that I got all the way back at launch. It's been around for a while. I just got this in the studio. I do have to say that Ayaneo actually sent me this device for review, but I'm not going to be biased or anything like that. I'm going to let you guys know what it is, but I wanted to get that out of the way. This device, the Ayaneo Next Lite, was sent to me by Ayaneo, but I must say, I am not new to the Ayaneo Next lineup. That's right, here I have the Ayaneo Next Pro, which is pretty much almost identical to the Ayaneo Next Lite. It's the same body, same size, same screen. The only difference between the Ayaneo Next Pro I have and the Ayaneo Next Lite is that the Next Lite actually has an additional USB-C port, and this is the 5825U versus the 4500U. So this handheld is technically more powerful than the Ayaneo Next Lite, but this thing was much more expensive when I got this a few years ago. This was actually the third handheld PC I ever got, only getting it like a month or two after the Steam Deck here. So I'm not new to the Ayaneo Next lineup. I have the Ayaneo Next Pro in my collection here, and it's one of the devices that was probably the most premium device at the time when I got it. So yeah, shout out to the Ayaneo Next lineup here. But anyway, let's not waste any time, you guys. What does the Ayaneo Next Lite do better than the Steam Deck? One thing that is immediately noticeable is that the Ayaneo Next Lite is much more portable than the Steam Deck LCD. And portability, I'm just measuring that by the actual measurements. It is a much smaller device in almost pretty much every dimension. It is shorter this way, it's shorter this way, it's also thinner this way. So in every dimension, it is a much smaller device, much more compact, and that's going to lead to it being more portable. Now, they both require some sort of case to carry around, but of course, being smaller, you get a smaller case and it's going to take up less space in your bag. So one thing that the Ayaneo Next Lite does is be light, is be portable, and that's something that it does have over the Steam Deck. Now, another thing that I think really is a win for the Ayaneo Next Lite is the ports. It is 3 times the ports of the Steam Deck. We have 2 on the top, USB-C, USB-C of course, and then another USB-C on the bottom here. That's a total of 3 USB-C ports. Now, one on the top and one on the bottom can both be used for charging and data, and then the one closest to the headphone jack is just for data. So that's going to be 3.2 speeds. But yeah, you're going to get 10 gigabyte speeds on all of those. No eGPU support, unfortunately, but having 3 USB-C ports, that's next level. I know on the Steam Deck, you can connect a dock, connect the USB hub and get more ports, but having 3 ports directly on the device, that is a game changer in my opinion. Just being able to, need less hubs, connect more peripherals just on the device itself, I think that is definitely a win for the Ayaneo Next Lite here. Now, another thing that the Ayaneo Next Lite shines at is the triggers and the sticks here. I will say that these are better than the Steam Deck. These are both Hall effect sticks and triggers, and that is going to mean you have no drift. These sticks are going to have much longer life cycle because it's not going to be it's not going to be able to get that mechanical drift that we usually see in normal joysticks. And I will say the triggers and bumpers do feel a little bit more sort of responsive and just a little bit more I wouldn't say the rebound feels better, and just the mechanism of pressing it feels a little bit better on the Ayaneo Next Lite. And the triggers of course are Hall effect, so you're going to get a little bit more precision and control out of your trigger usage there. Now, another way that the Ayaneo Next Lite is, winning against the Steam Deck is compatibility. That's right. This is a Windows handheld, a full Windows 11 handheld PC. This is pretty much just a mini PC with controls slapped on the side. That's what you can think of this as. It's full Windows, so you're going to get the 100% compatibility across all of your Windows PC games, all of your Windows applications, whatever you throw at that, whatever you would install on a regular PC, you can install on this because it is a full Windows PC. Now, Linux does have some compatibility issues with games and software, but if you use Linux, you know what the deal. So yeah, but just as far as being a PC, compatibility is definitely a win in the Ayaneo Next Lite favor. But of course, you can't run every game at the max settings, even though you can technically run every game. You're not going to be able to run every game at high settings, but we'll talk about the performance a little bit later. Now, another reason that it's a big win for the Ayaneo Next Lite is the SSD expansion. Now, the Ayaneo Next Lite is using the full fat 2280 SSD, and the Steam Deck is using the little mini 2230 SSD. Look at the difference there. 2280, this is like the typical standard size of SSDs in PCs. 2230, this is, much smaller for like, small devices, mini tablets and stuff like that. And this is the Ayaneo Next Lite versus the Steam Deck. So you can see the difference there. It's going to be cheaper for the same amount of storage, and you can also get a higher capacity of storage. So right now, at the recording of this video, which is November 2024, the 2230 SSD maxes out at 2 terabytes, while the 2280 SSD maxes out at 8 terabytes. That's right. So you can put 4 times the space or the capacity in the Next Lite than you can compared to the Steam Deck LCD. Now, that is a great win for the Next Lite. Now, another thing is that there is a caveat with the expansion. Because the Ayaneo Next Lite doesn't have an SD card slot, that's right, no SD card slot, the Steam Deck can technically get like a cheaper expansion. But if you were to put 4 terabytes in the Next Lite, it would cost more to put 4 terabytes in the Steam Deck LCD, because a 2 terabyte SSD is going to cost you anywhere from like $150 on average, and then a 2 terabyte SD card, which pretty much just launched not too long ago, that's going to cost you like another, I think, like $200. So it's going to cost you like almost $400 to get 4 terabytes in here, and you can get 4 terabytes for around like $250. you know, a 4 terabyte SSD for like $250. So you can definitely expand your storage for less on the next Lite, but I think it is cheaper if you was to get like a 1 terabyte SSD and put it in here. It would cost less than buying like, you know, an additional 1 terabyte SSD or 2 terabyte SSD for the Ayaneo Next Lite. So it's kind of give and take. You can get a higher capacity, and if you try to match the capacity, you can get it for cheaper. But if you get like a slightly lower capacity in the SD card and sort of match those two up, you can sort of find a way to get it to be less, but you're gonna get less capacity overall. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. Now, I will say another thing, the last sort of win, big win for the Ayaneo Next Lite is Best Buy availability. That's right, this is one of the only Ayaneo devices that you can get at Best Buy. You can go on bestbuy.com right now and just order the Ayaneo Next Lite and then pick it up at your local Best Buy. I'm not sure if they actually carry these in stores like physically. I've been to about, you know, 4, you know, Best Buys since I found out that they were available in Best Buy, and I've not seen this in a physical Best Buy. But let me know in the comments down below if you've seen the Ayaneo Next Lite in an actual physical Best Buy. But I will say, just having Best Buy availability and being able to, you know, order it online and pick it up sometimes the next day in the Best Buy is a big win for the Ayaneo Next Lite. The Steam Deck, yeah, as far as the US goes, is only available on you know, Valve's website, and it's gonna take maybe like 3 to 5 business days to get to you, but it's not available in like physical stores like Best Buy for the Ayaneo Next Lite. No, but the Steam Deck is not going to take this line down. How does the Steam Deck hit back? What does the Steam Deck have that really sets it above the Ayaneo Next Lite? One thing is going to be ergonomics. You see this grip here is a much better grip. I'll just show you guys the grip here with the hand placement. You can see there, if you look at the Next Lite, it doesn't really have much of a grip. Your hands kind of just like sitting on the back there, resting on the back. It does have like a little hump here, but it's nothing compared to the Steam Deck, which can pretty much like hold itself up almost with the grip on the back here. It's not going to be something that you're going to get on the Ayaneo Next Lite. So ergonomics definitely goes to the Steam Deck. Not just the ergonomics of the grip, but also the stick placement, much more comfortable. The Ayaneo Next Lite is a little bit less comfortable for this right joystick here. You can see my thumb is kind of in an awkward position using this joystick, so it is less comfortable overall. Ergonomics definitely goes to the Steam Deck. Now, another thing where the Steam Deck wins is going to be the control options. There's a lot more controller options on the Steam Deck. Even though it doesn't have like the analog triggers and sticks, it has sticks that have capacitive tips so that you can actually activate like gyro or other things with just the stick tip itself, or the top of the stick has like a capacitive surface. You got 4 buttons on the back that you can assign to pretty much any control. Then you have trackpads, and these trackpads can do a number of things. You can make it a mouse, you can make it the joystick, you can make it the D-pad, you can make it like a radial menu. So this is gonna really open up a lot of options for, you know, playing games that have like mouse input. The trackpad is really gonna take it a step above and allow you to play games that would be more difficult to play with just a joystick on a controller. So the Steam Deck definitely wins as far as controller options. Now, third-party support. The Steam Deck wins hands down with third-party support. The Steam Deck has what I believe to be the best third-party support of any handheld. And I have a lot of handhelds. If you've seen on the channel, I have like over 20 handhelds at this point, but the Steam Deck has always been the best when it comes to third-party support. I'll just show you the back, just as a testament of what I mean. See this, the back, regular back, nothing special. You can't even find a case for this. Now the Steam Deck, look at this. This is a customized translucent back panel that has a kickstand built into it that can also hold a battery bank. This is just a testament of the third-party support that you get with the Steam Deck. You can find cases, you can find, you know, complete shower replacements. You can even find upgraded screens like the Deck HD, something like that. You can find screen upgrades, screen replacements, shell upgrades and replacements, buttons, cases, you name it, you can find it for the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck has such a huge third-party support that it is unmatched across any handheld in the industry today. The Steam Deck is very special. The community has just been pumping out things, you know, more than we can even keep up. Now, as far as user experience, The Steam Deck is arguably the better user experience with the Steam OS. Now, the Ayaneo Next Lite does have airspace, which does have like a launcher and control panel that does allow you to change different things with the controller, which is nice to have. But I know some people don't like Windows as far as, you know, a handheld operating system. I, for one, I actually prefer Windows. I know that's like blasphemy to the Steam Deck fans, but I prefer Windows just for the compatibility alone. And I've never had an issue navigating Windows. If I need to open something, I just tap the screen and I'm always able to open it. So I know some people don't like Windows, so I'm not gonna ignore those people and say that they're wrong. But I do think it's sort of like personal preference. I prefer Windows for like the compatibility. I can install any application that I need and I don't have to worry about the compatibility of Linux. But as far as like the gaming mode, as just a gaming device, I will say that SteamOS is, you know, is more user friendly. You know, you turn it on, you download your games, it's like a console, and if you're just into Steam, it's much easier. Now, if you want to get into Epic, if you want to get into, you know, GOG, if you want to get into Battle.net and stuff like that, you're gonna have to, you know, start sort of, you know, getting those workarounds, Heroic Launcher, all those other things. You're gonna have to do a little bit more work than just installing it like on Windows, but to some people it's worth it. And of course, you have the Linux OS that's going to allow you to have like that quick resume feature where you can just press the power button, put it to sleep, and then press it, and then it's going to wake up and be right back where you left off. That's not something that Windows is really good at right now. Now, another thing where the Steam Deck kind of hits back is with the performance, and this is the big one. This is what you've all been waiting for, and I will say that right off the bat, if you only skip to this part, the Steam Deck has better performance. So if you only came for the performance, then you can just turn the video off right now and go ahead and order a Steam Deck, because the Steam Deck is more powerful. Raw performance, it is more powerful. You have the AMD Vega GPU cores in the Ayaneo Next Lite, and you have the AMD RDNA 2, I believe, graphics cores in the Steam Deck OLED in that custom APU. But let's talk about it. Let's get into it. I'm gonna let you guys know right off the bat. I'm gonna run just a few benchmarks just to give you a sense of the performance difference, and after that I'm gonna tell you which one I think is for which person, because I do think that there is a reason to get one of these over the other. I don't think it's just you should just get this or you should just get this. I think there is a certain person that each of those is good for. We're gonna talk about that at the end of the video. Let's get into the performance now. Right off the bat, the Steam Deck is topped off at 15 watts. I'm gonna be running it at 15 watts. I'm not gonna load the TDP, and I'm gonna be running the Ayaneo Next Lite at 30 watts. Just right, 30 watts, just to show you the difference in performance. I'm not gonna run them both at 15 watts because I already know that the Ayaneo Next Lite is gonna get left far behind. So I'm gonna give it the best chance it has to show some sort of performance, running this at 30 watts versus 15 watts on the Steam Deck. Now I know someone's gonna come in the comments and say it's not fair, you should run them both at 15 watts. I already explained to you guys, the Ayaneo Next Lite is not as powerful, so it doesn't make sense to run it at 15 watts. We already know that it's not gonna compete. So I'm giving this its best chance to show what it can do. And the Steam Deck, of course, is gonna be at its max. So they're pretty much both at their max, so you can get a sense of what they can do. Anyway, with that being said, let's get into the benchmarks here. Okay, so for the first benchmark, we're gonna start off with something slight, nothing too serious. This is Dirt 5. We are at native resolution, so 800p, all low settings. There's no upscaling or, you know, variable dynamic resolution or anything like that. Just native low settings. Let's run the benchmark. Like I said, we are at 30 watts on the Ayaneo Next Lite, and of course the Steam Deck is limited to 15 watts. So let's run it, see how they do. Okay, so the results are in, and let's see how we did. Now, the Ayaneo Next Lite got a not so great 32 FPS. Now remember, this is at 30 watt TDP, so this is pretty much the max that you would want to take this device up to. 30 watt TDP, and we got around 32 FPS. So that's around 1 FPS per watt. Not bad. Now the Steam Deck was able to get 52 FPS, and it only maxes out at 15 watts. So it's doing around 20 FPS more. That's a pretty decent amount more than the Ayaneo Next Lite here. 30 versus 50. So there you go. We're gonna run a few more benchmarks, but it's not looking good for the Ayaneo Next Lite when it comes to competing with the Steam Deck in raw performance. But let's keep it going, see what this thing can do. Okay, so the next benchmark we're going to run is the Cyberpunk 2077 benchmark. Like I said before, we're going to be at 800p. Pretty much the lowest settings that this game can do. All settings are on low. The lowest that it can be without being completely off. So yeah, the lowest settings possible without the setting being completely turned off. You will see some settings start with medium and then they go straight to off. So they'll be on medium instead of low because there's no low option. But 800p, the lowest settings possible, 30 watts on the next Lite and 15 watts, of course, on the Steam Deck. Let's see how they do. Okay, so here we can see the benchmark has completed now. It actually is quite surprising, the results here. So the Ayaneo Next Lite actually got an average of 56 FPS, and surprisingly, the Steam Deck got an average of 58 FPS. So not much difference in this benchmark here. We did have that FSR 3 frame generation on, so maybe that helped with the Ayaneo Next Lite. I'm not sure. The settings were the same. Maybe finally being at 30 watts paid off because the Ayaneo Next Lite is right up there with the Steam Deck at 56 FPS versus 58 FPS. So yeah, shout out to the frame generation. It's looking like that's helping in this case on the Ayaneo Next Lite. Not much less than the Steam Deck. We know the Steam Deck has more raw performance, but it's looking like that frame generation is really helping the Ayaneo Next Lite keep up in this benchmark here. So yeah, surprising results, but I'm glad that the Ayaneo Next Lite was able to at least keep up with the Steam Deck in this test here. So yeah, let's get on to the next one. Okay, so the last test in this performance segment is going to be the Returnal benchmark. Lowest settings possible, FSR at ultra performance, just to give these the best chance of getting some decent FPS here. Now, the Ayaneo Next Lite is going to be at 30 watts, of course, and the Steam Deck is going to be at 15 watts. We haven't changed the TDP, of course, any of these tests here. So we're at the lowest settings possible. Let's run the benchmark and see how they both do. Okay, so the benchmark is finished here, and it's looking like the Steam Deck came out on top once again. So the Steam Deck was able to get an average of 31 FPS, and the Next Lite is lagging behind a bit, only able to get 23 FPS at the lowest possible settings in this game. Now that's not even a cinematic 24 FPS, so it's probably unplayable at this point, I would say. Now in the actual gameplay, it does do slightly better, but 23 FPS in the benchmark, I would consider that to be unplayable in my opinion. It definitely is lagging a bit behind the Steam Deck. I think that's around 25% less FPS on the Ayaneo Next Lite, so definitely lagging behind in this test here. And that's just what you would expect from the performance of these two devices. The Next Lite is, you know, less powerful than the Steam Deck. Is using those Vega cores in the graphics department, and the Steam Deck is using the newer RDNA 2 cores, I believe, in the graphics. So you should expect, you know, 20, 30, sometimes 40 or 50% less performance on the Next Lite, you know, just in the raw performance aspect. Now, as far as which one is for which person, I do think that there is a specific person that should be considering one or the other. Now, if you really want a Windows device, then you know which one to get. If you absolutely hate Windows and you want the absolute, you know, best performance for the price, you're going to want to look at the Steam Deck LCD, because that's going to give you the best performance for the price, and you can't really beat it in this $400 category for a new device. As I said before at the beginning, you could look in the used market and try to find deals there, but if you want a strictly new device that's going to give you the best warranty, the best support for $400, you're going to want to look at the Steam Deck, because it is the champ as far as the $400 price to performance ratio there. And at one point, it was the most powerful handheld. It has been surpassed in the last few years, but you know, in this 4000 series that the Ayaneo Next Lite finds itself in, the Steam Deck is well ahead. And yeah, if you want just performance, get the Steam Deck. Now, if you want a Windows handheld that has the full compatibility of all your Windows programs, all your Windows, PC games, you're gonna want to look at the Ayaneo Next Lite. Now, it does have, like a launcher mode. You can sort of get it to be a more console-like, but if you just want that 100% compatibility, you're gonna want to look at the Next Lite. Also, if you want to do like indie games, if you want to play light games, no pun intended, the Ayaneo Next Lite is going to be great for those light indie games. Maybe there's some games that are not compatible with Linux and they are easy to run. The Ayaneo Next Lite is going to be the device for you. Also, if you want to use it as like a mini PC, if there's 3 ports connected up to a monitor, a keyboard and mouse, and this could be like your full PC. It's powerful enough to do productivity. It's powerful enough to do some light video editing, maybe 1080p video editing, and you can get by using this docked as like a full Windows desktop PC if you have the right setup. Now, it's not going to get you the best performance, but if you're playing, like I said, indie games like Hades 2 or something like that, you're going to have a great time. You can even take the TDP down and you can get some great performance out of those lighter to run games on the Ayaneo Next Lite. Now, with that being said, which one should you buy? You already know which one you should buy. I think at the end of this, you have an idea of which one you should buy. If you just want the performance, you're going to want to get the Steam Deck because that's going to give you what you want in that regard. If you want the Windows, then of course you're going to want to get the Ayaneo Next Lite. Okay, so there you have it, the Ayaneo Next Lite versus the Steam Deck LCD. I think these are 2 great devices for $400. Like I said, Ayaneo did send the Next Lite out to me for review. Shout out to them, but I'm not being paid or anything like that. I just wanted to let you guys know my honest opinion of these 2 $400 handhelds here. Leave a comment down below if you would consider the Steam Deck or the Ayaneo Next Lite for the reasons that I mentioned in this video. Let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, I really do think these are great devices in their own way for the specific price point of $400. And as always, like, subscribe, ring that bell so I can keep bringing you more barely average dude stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.